My insurance company is investigating my claim and they told me they're sending out an engineer. That sounds great. Where could this go wrong? Hey, this is Mendy with My Insurance Claim Expert, here to answer all your insurance-related questions. So to be quite honest, if your insurance company is sending out an engineer, it's probably not for your benefit. It's amazing to see how engineers specializing in insurance claims on behalf of the carriers always seem to write their reports in quite the, shall we say, vague way that can be understood to mean that the insurance company doesn't owe you any money, that the damage isn't from the claim, etc. When really they're not filling in all the details. And I'll give you an example. I was out by a client in Pensacola area after Hurricane Sally struck. The insurance engineer wrote in his report that the wind station near the house did not observe winds in excess of, I don't remember if it was 40 miles an hour, whatever it was. Now, that would make you think, if you don't know what you're reading, you would think quite frankly that, well, doesn't sound like there was quite strong winds. Now, I can tell you the winds were closer to 100 miles an hour over there, except for one simple thing. What the insurance engineer didn't mention is that the same weather stations he pulled that wind speeds from also said that the weather stations were offline for most of that period, meaning the winds knocked out those weather stations and they weren't reporting the wind. So was the engineer lying when he says that no wind speeds were recorded higher than 40 miles an hour? No, he wasn't. But were there winds higher than 40 miles an hour? Absolutely. So it's a slippery slope being here with the way they write their reports, and it's important to be able to document these claims properly. That's why typically I'm going to say at the point that an engineer is being brought in, you need to be represented. Why? For the simple reason that if you have a public adjuster at your side, he's sitting there documenting what the engineer is doing wrong in order to hold them accountable to ensure your claim is paid properly. Now, I'll give you a perfect example. I was on a roof also in Pensacola during the same time after Hurricane Sally, and I was pointing out to the engineer how a lot of the shingles were what we call lifted. That means they are no longer glued down, there's debris underneath, etc. And I'm sitting there on the roof, and I see the engineer, after I show him lifted shingles, I see him bend down, check one shingle, see that that shingle is not glued down, goes to the shingle right next to it, checks that shingle, sees that one is glued down, pulls out his camera, takes a photo of that shingle, and says, and I of course pretend that I'm stupid, and I say, hey, Mr. Engineer, I'm just curious. What was that photo for? He says, well, I'm taking a photo to show that the shingle isn't lifted, meaning that it's not damaged, it's not unglued. And I said, well, that's quite funny because you just tested one right next to it and you didn't take a photo of that one. Essentially, I caught the engineer committing fraud. Okay? Now, we call it in the industry selective photography. They're taking photos of what they want to show, to tell a story. Okay, so that's why it's important that you are represented at that stage, because if the insurance company is sending an engineer, it's probably not for your benefit, and you want to make sure there's somebody on your side representing you, knowing what to look for, knowing how to hold them accountable, and making sure your claim gets paid properly. Thank you for watching this video. I hope it's been useful. As always, please like, share, tell your friends all about us, follow us, and of course, if you have any questions, email us at questions@pantherpa.com. Thanks for watching.